Most of the documents you own are never fully read. Reports, contracts, meeting notes, research PDFs, they sit in a folder waiting for a moment you never quite get to. Google built a tool that changes that. You give it your own files and it reads every page instantly. When you ask it questions, it answers using only what's inside those documents. It's like your own personal library. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to set this up with your own files, how to ask it the right questions, and how to turn a stack of documents into something you can actually have a conversation with. Welcome to NotebookLM. Let's crack on. The tool is called NotebookLM and it works differently to a normal AI chatbot. A regular AI pulls from everything that it's been trained on, but this one, NotebookLM, it only pulls from what you give it. Researchers call this grounded AI. Every answer traces back to a specific line in a specific document that you've uploaded. So you're never getting a guess. You're getting exactly what's written in your own material. Setting it up takes about 30 seconds. First, what you need to do is go to notebooklm.google.com, and from there you can create a new notebook. Once you've created your new notebook, you can see here that this pop-up screen, you can upload files, you can add websites, you can add files from your Google Drive, and you can also paste in copied text. In this section here, you can also get it to do research. So you can add in a prompt and you can tell it what types of sources that you want to add into this notebook itself. To start with, we're going to add in some files from the drive. So we'll open up the drive here and we're going to add in these 5 documents. So these documents that we're going to use as an example, pretend that we're an organization, we're rolling out artificial intelligence, and we want some guidelines, some glossary terms, and some explanations behind what artificial intelligence is so that our staff members can look it up and get some guidance on what artificial intelligence is and when they should and shouldn't be using it. So let's go ahead and insert those. And over here, it's analyzing all of these documents and it's pulling them in as sources to be used within this notebook. Just to demonstrate the research side of NotebookLM, I'm going to pop a prompt in here. So I wanted to find sources that are reputable, that can give me guidance on hallucinations, data privacy, and human oversight. And you'll see here, it will then start to research the websites and it will come back with a list of suggestions that we can then implement in our notebook. And because it will give us the links as well, we can also verify the data sources before we go ahead and use them as guidance in our notebook. And now it's finished the research. You can see here that it's given us a few different sources. We can click on view and then we can go and verify these to see if these are the types of ones that we actually want to include in our notebook or not. So when you click on select all, that's going to deselect those. So I want to just use maybe the Microsoft one and then this one here, and we'll import those. And it's now going to use the Microsoft and the DeepMind sources as part of our notebook. Once we've got our sources set up, we can then move on to how can we use our own personal library with our own AI chatbot to pull on those sources and help guide us. On the right hand side over here, these are all of the different options that you can then pull on to then give you outputs using your data sources on the left hand side. So you've got audio, video, mind map, reports, flashcards, quiz, and data table. The ones that I'm going to demonstrate here will be mind map, audio, and reports. The mind map itself is actually really useful and I'll show you why. So when we click on mind map here, it's going to go ahead and start creating that mind map. And once it's finished, click on the AI mind map. And the brilliant thing about this is it's put all of the information into a logical sequence that we can then follow through. So the starting point is the artificial intelligence foundations. And then you can see here that it's split it into the 5 key documents that we fed into it at the beginning as our sources. So if you want to learn more about security and safeguards, you can click on that node and it will take you through to the 2 different options that it's found that are within that categorization. So then let's click on Azure AI safety content and you can see here it gives us more information as we go through it and we can dig in deeper and use this as a learning model. On the left hand side, you can also see that it will pull out the data and the detail that sits behind each of these different nodes in the mind map. So this is a really good way to organize your data and your resources in a logical way that you can then follow through and learn more about by prompting it, by clicking on the node and diving into more detail in the chat panel here on the left hand side. The next thing that we're going to do is going to create a report. So we're going to click on reports here and we're going to create our own one. We can select a variety of different languages and this is the prompt that we're going to give it. Create a report, keeping it to 500 words, and we also want to include a data table as part of that report. Once we're happy with the prompt, we'll click on generate. and it will create that report for us. And like with the AI mind map, we can see it's now created the report for us. And when we click on it, you can go through, see all of the different sections and read through this. The other option that we can have here is we can share this with our internal colleagues. We can also export it to sheets or documents as part of our own Google Drive and then house that in our own filing system. Or you can keep it within NotebookLM and use that as your reference source. So that's the report side of things. Let's go back to the studio. And the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a video overview of this notebook and the different sources within it. So we'll click on this arrow over here, and then we're going to pop the prompt in. We want it to focus on why hallucinations happen, why human in the loop matters, and give us a bit more of a safety focused tutorial based on the sources that we've got in our notebook. So let's generate that video. We can also choose a different language as well just before we click generate. So if you want to have different versions for different audiences and they might not speak English, that's also an option you can have. So let's have a quick look at some of the sections here to see what it's created.
Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're stripping away all that sci-fi doom-mongering and the relentless buzzwords to really understand what artificial intelligence actually is, and honestly, more importantly, exactly how it works. Because look, if you take away just one single thing from our time together today, let it be this. AI isn't magic, it is math. How in the world do we jump from a simple image identifier to those massive large language models we chat with every single day? Let's get into part 3 to find out. Hallucinations and security risks, the blind spots of a prediction engine. See, this predictive
So as we can see here, it's used all of our sources to create this 8-minute video. So imagine if you've got induction documents, you've got an overview of your new strategy, and you want to train people on that, but only based on the sources that you provide to it. You can create your own notebook, put all of the documents in there as sources, and then create training guides or an audio overview or a report, and it's all grounded in that context. And then you can circulate this, you can upload it to your Google Drive, and you can train your staff, you can inform them through videos and visual representation of heavy text documents. So that's a bit of an overview of how to use videos within NotebookLM. Now you know how to take your own documents, upload them into NotebookLM, and turn them into something you can question directly, with every answer tracing straight back to the source that you provided it. That's a genuinely useful way to work with information that you already have. If this has helped you, subscribe for more weekly deep dives and check out my other video linked to here, where I walk through using Claude's free version and what it can do for you as a business or as an individual straight out of the box with no subscription. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.